Hello world, my name is Klaus Wastel, and I'm doing 100 innovation keynotes in 100 days. Today's number 88, and today's topic is how to sell innovation and how not to. So first off, I get this question. I'm not going to say it a lot, but I get it. I get it a lot. Klaus, I don't know how to sell innovation. Now, for some odd reason, because I'm an innovation strategist, I work with innovation, the people who ask me seem to have an idea that I do. My first answer is, of course, who does? The second answer is we're all different because what works one place doesn't necessarily work the next. And the third one is keep trying. Now, if people aren't satisfied with these three platitudes, they're all very true, but they may not feel like enough. Then I say, okay, I'm willing to kind of lift the lid on some of my experiences, but it may get ugly. If people are okay with that, if you're okay with that, then keep listening. If you think, I don't want it to be ugly, Klaus, I want it to be beautiful and pure, like innovation, then stop listening. Stop listening right now. If you're okay with a bit of ugly, keep listening. I'm going to give you 5 premises, and then I'm going to give you 5 tips. Premise number 1 is nobody wants to buy innovation. It's not a thing where you're sitting somewhere. Nobody sits in a conference room and says, Bob, I think we should buy some more innovation. You know what, Terry? I think we should. Samina, what about you? Do you think we should buy some innovation? Well, golly right, guys. Let's buy some innovation. People want to buy results. They want to buy higher quarterly earnings. They want to buy less employee churn. They want to buy cheaper marketing. They want to buy more impact, or they want to buy water pipes that go faster. They don't want to buy innovation. They want to buy results. Second thing is nobody wants to be the problem. Of course nobody wants to be the problem. Everyone wants to look elsewhere for it. And what I mean by that is quite simple. If somebody comes to me and says, Klaus, I represent organization this and this. We'd like you to come in and look at our innovation practices and sprinkle a bit of magic dust. And I say, okay, well, I've been here for a week and I've looked at things and they're really nice and I've talked a little bit around. I've done some analysis using my expert tools and my sharp eye, and you're the problem. Ooh, no, am I the problem? No. Isn't it somebody else? Isn't it somewhere else? Especially if it's the people who are making the financial decision on whether to hire you and they're the problem or they're near it. Not good. Nobody wants to be the problem. Of course we don't want to. It's like in the rest of our lives, in our relationships, in our friendships. We don't want somebody to say, you know what, we're fighting quite a lot and it's your fault. You are to blame. It may be true. It may be part of the truth, but we don't like that. We like to say, oh, but it's because our website is bad, or oh, it's because we have a bad organizational structure, or oh, if we only had a different set of rules for incentives. We don't want to be the problem. But sometimes when you're looking at things from the outside, when you're trying to sell innovation to people, they are the problem. Or part of what they're doing is the problem. And that's tricky. Number 3, nobody wants to pay for things they know. One of the most horrible things when you come in as an expert, as an outsider, as a consultant, then it's that people are like, oh yeah, tell me something I don't know, smart boy. We're telling you things that we know, but you should tell us things that you know. And if we know them already, then what you know is worthless. Oh, doesn't it just mean you're also really smart and perceptive and understand the issue? No, it means we shouldn't pay you. Okay, well, I can see why that would be the case. Because nobody wants to pay for things they know. Nobody wants you to come up and say, we found out this and this and this and this, and like we knew that already, why are we paying you? Well, if you knew that already, why did you hire us if you knew this was the problem? Why didn't you fix it then, or change it, or try at least? Because the reality is everybody wants their biases affirmed. And this is where it gets tricky, because if I come in somewhere and I say, you know what, guys? It's pretty clear. I've talked with you for half an hour. The problem is that you're selling to the wrong people. Then either they say, yeah, we knew that. Why do you tell us that? That's nothing new. What are you, like some sort of sleaze bag trying to get our money without any value? Say, well, no, I just see that in the situation. Or they say, no, I don't think that's the problem. Come up with a different solution. Well, I mean, to me, it's pretty clear that's the problem. No, it's not, because we want the problem to be or organizational structure, or we want the problem to be price, or we want the problem to be our sales process, or the fact that our cans are too big, or our delivery time is too long, or whatever it is, people want their biases affirmed when they pull you in as an innovation expert. They want to hear something new, yes, because if not, they don't want to pay, or they'll pay grudgingly, or at least kind of like, But they also don't want it to be too different from what they want to hear. The perfect thing is to come in and tell them something that's what they want to hear, but in a slightly different way so they feel they're learning something. But now we're getting to tips. I'm getting ahead of myself. Nobody wants to look one level deeper, yet everybody wants to solve one level deeper. If I hire somebody to say, Klaus, you are overweight. It is because you don't exercise enough, you eat the wrong things, and well, your lifestyle isn't really conducive to losing weight. I say, I ordered you to make me a pizza. Like, okay, I thought you wanted to kind of lose weight. Well, yes, but I want you to tell me which pizza is a weight loss pizza. It's like, it doesn't work that way, Klaus. You can't just, all our pizzas are good, but none of them are like weight loss pizzas. So you need to either deal with the deeper problems, or you need to realize pizza's not the solution. Well, I mean, you guys are a pizza company, and I want to have a weight loss pizza. So do we have a deal or not? And they're like, okay, well, we'll make you the most weight lossy pizza we can, I guess. And I'm like, good, that's just what I wanted. And then later it's like, why am I still fat? People do not want to look at deeper levels. They don't want to scratch away at the onion. They don't want to get to the core because that's terrifying. It's uncomfortable. And the last of these premises is the toughest ones. Nobody wants their identity challenged. Everyone wants the solution to be win-win. Everybody wants to be told, well, the solution isn't you. That's not the problem. This isn't the problem. What you're doing isn't the problem. Who you're selling to isn't the problem. What it's all about is we just need to tweak a few things. You basically don't need to change anything, but this small thing that won't hurt at all, and then everything's great. Oh, that's nice. Because a lot of the time, people know that if they do sweeping changes, whether it's in their private lives or their professional ones, their organizational ones, people usually know what's needed. They know what's kind of, if we did this, then it would have an effect, but they don't want to do it. There can be many reasons. There are many reasons that I don't want to do changes in my life, both my work life, my private life, and I have tons of excuses. I'm amazing at excuses. But this is the stuff I know. So I want somebody to come in and say, Klaus, what you need to do to change is this. And then I say, but I don't want to do that because that doesn't fit with my own idea of who I am. And say, you kind of need to do that. That's the issue. No. Give me a solution that doesn't require me to change my identity. Well, but that's kind of the problem. Your identity, your kind of self-image is what's holding you back. Oh, you don't know anything. Goodbye. Because we want it to be win-win. We want it to be painless. We want it to be comfortable. Or at least, if not that, we want it to be at a level where we can handle it. We don't want to face the ugly stuff. I was just about to go into a rant. I'm not going to do that. I'm instead going to jump to what does that mean in practice? If these 5 premises, even if you're like, I don't completely buy it, but I can see where he's going. Even if you buy it a little. Notice the pun on buying, selling here? Okay, I'll let myself out. Even if you buy it a little, let's jump to what does that mean in practice? And here are 5 tips, 5 very, very hands-on tips when you're trying to sell innovation. And this doesn't mean you have to be an innovation specialist trying to sell it to a company. You might be an employee trying to sell internally in an organization. You might be a leader of an organization trying to sell it to your employees. You might be a governmental divisional boss trying to sell it to some politicians, or you might be, you see where it's going, you might be somebody trying to sell these ideas or the idea of innovation to somebody else. Maybe money is involved, maybe prestige, maybe power. That's not what's at stake here. That's not what the important thing is. The important thing is here are 5 tips to make your life easier. Number 1, it is easier to sell pizza than dietary advice. It is easier to sell at kind of the concrete, the specific level where you are asked, then sell at root causes. And this is something consultants see all the time. And if you're helping somebody out, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's somebody in another part of the company, maybe it's from a different area in the organization, doesn't really matter. If you come to them and they say, we'd like you to look at how to make our room more light, so we'd like you to pick a good color for us. Then if you say, I think the light blue is good, the dark red, I'd stay away from that, then they'll be happy. But if you say, guys, the problem isn't really the paint. I mean, sure, I could give you advice on paint. That would change it a little bit here, a little bit there. But the real problem is you have no windows. So what if we take that budget for paint and then instead we use it to create some windows? Or if not some windows, then at least to boost the kind of the strength of the lights in here. How about that? That's going to have a much bigger effect than if I tell you one paint or the other. There's a chance they'll say, oh, we hadn't thought of that. That's great. Thank you. There's a much better chance they'll say, we asked you to advise us on the paint, not all sorts of other stuff. We asked you to deliver the pizza, not to give us diet advice. This is so classical. This is so typical of how we are as human beings. We say, okay, we're willing to bring this to the table. You can poke around in this, and then they say, yeah, but that's not a problem. You can poke around. What about over here? They said, no, this is off the table, but this is minimal. This is big. Yeah, ignore that. It's easier to sell pizza than dietary advice. Number two, it's easier to sell numbers than ideas. If I go in somewhere and say, guys, we all know, because studies have shown it many times over the years, that joy in the workplace, happiness in the workplace, is something that makes employees work longer, work harder, be more satisfied, be less sick, be more productive, work better together, all sorts of good things. So I can't tell you exactly whether we're going to get 8% or 12% of whatever you're going to measure, but I can say that if we can make your employees happier and more joyful in their work, it's going to be a good thing. Yeah, but we can't justify that, Klaus. That's a soft cost. Say, you know what? I also have this other program. Once you run it through, it's called Innovation Superstars. And if you pay me some money, then you will see it's going to give you 2% on the bottom line because you're going to sell more. That's what's happened at the last 8 companies I was at. Boom, sold tomorrow. It's easier to sell numbers than ideas. Even if the ideas are bigger, they're better, because they're intangible. They're kind of this, we want things that we can analyze and measure. Now, this is not in all businesses, and luckily this is something that is slowly changing the more the world spins out of control. Corona has been great for taking the numbers people and putting them a little bit, not back into their closets or roasting them over slow fires in hell. We're not at that level, but it's taking them a little bit and pushing them a little bit back from where they were at the edge of world domination and letting the ideas people, the conceptual people, move a little bit forward again, where we have been at the brink of extinction. It's easier to sell marketing than culture. Now, why would that be? Well, strictly speaking, or not strictly, but simply speaking, I waltz into an organization. Let's say it's a big company that produces shoes. Maybe something saying, swoosh. Just to give an example, I waltz in there and say, guys, here's the thing. You want to be innovative. You want to change, and you hired me to help you. Here's what I think you need to look at. Your culture, while it's been great, is outdated. There's some things we can change. There's room for improvement. There's some low-hanging fruits that we can address within the company culture. Then some people are going to say, okay, sounds interesting, tell me more. But the more involved the people are, when I come with that sort of recommendation, the more they're going to say, yeah, we don't like that. Oh, you're asking me to change. No. Don't like it. If I come in the same place and say, guys, you've got an amazing company. You're doing amazing work. You do amazing products. The world just doesn't get it. What you need is better marketing. You need better social media presence. You need to be on the blockchain. I don't know what it has to do with marketing, but it sells, right? You need to have more influencer campaigns that are successful, and we need to boost your word to word, your mouth to mouth, your waka waka to waka waka factor. Like, okay, so we don't need to change anything. We just need somebody to produce better ads for us. They're going to go, yeah, well, except the marketing guy who's going to go, hey, we're doing our best. Like, what the hell is up with you? And they're going to say, shh, marketing, Patricia, shh. This guy's telling us we don't need to change at all if we just let you get some outside help. Bingo, sold. It's much easier to say you should change the marketing than you should change what's inside. And to give a great example of this, imagine Tinder, the dating app. Imagine somebody comes to you on Tinder and says, hey, Ahmed, you're on Tinder and you've asked for my help because things aren't going so well. You're not meeting kind of the people you want to. And Ahmed says, yeah, I could really use your help. And I say, Ahmed, you know what the problem is? The problem is actually, when I look at it, that you're kind of boring. You're not really an interesting sort of guy. I mean, you might be nice and you're decent and all that, but that doesn't cut it. You need to be more interesting. You need to change. You have great potential, but you need to be more different somehow. Ahmed's not going to like that. Ahmed's friends are going to say, hey, you asshole, what's up with you? Why do you make our friends sad? For good reason. Where if instead I go, Ahmed, you're the best. You are literally the best guy in the world, maybe in the universe. But what you need better profile pictures, and you need better copy. It needs to say, instead of, hi, I'm Ahmed, I'd like to find somebody to share my life with. I enjoy long walks on the beach and I'm honest. You need it to sparkle. And I can do that for you. Just pay me and I can fix that. And I'll get some pictures taken and we'll be off to the races in no time. Now that might be tempting, because if you do better marketing, in this case, Tinder marketing, you're going to get more people kind of interested at the beginning. But if the product behind it, if the human behind it, the service behind it, the experience behind it is still the same, well, then you're just going to have the problem or the no happen later. If you wrap Ahmed, or fictional Ahmed, who's really not that interesting a guy to date, if you wrap him into glitzy packaging, he might go on more dates, but he'll it won't be better. He won't get what he's looking for, which is a soulmate. Where if you say, Ahmed, I know this is going to be tough, but actually the thing is that while you're a nice guy, you're just not that interesting, and that's something that you need to be. Can we work on that? If he says, you know what, I get your point, let's work on that, then something's going to happen. But if not, well, then not. And with organizations, harsh as it is much easier to sell marketing than to sell culture. Because culture is an attack on an identity. And marketing, that's just packaging. That's not about us, except to the marketing people. Once we're there fighting out, we're diving into the marketing department and kind of snooping around, trying to see where we can sell some innovation. It's easier to sell actions than mindsets. If I go to somebody and say, you should be more open to new ideas, you should be more experimental, you should be more playful, you should be more willing to make mistakes. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like hard work. Or if I say, every week, you should walk 6 kilometers while waving a green flag over your head and singing the Marseillaise. They're like, I'm not sure I get it, but I'm willing to try it. Because it's an action, because it's concrete, because it's something that's not about, again, it's not about them, it's about what they do. Selling a mindset is going to be much more powerful. There is a reason that kind of basically all self-help stuff is about mindset. But selling a mindset is also, it's tricky, it's dangerous. We're selling an action. You should have this social media campaign. Not you should think about the media landscape as a whole instead of as one place, where you should think omni-channel instead of uni-channel, for example. That's a mindset that's tricky, where you should use this much money on Facebook ads, or you should be on Clubhouse. Should we be on Clubhouse? You should be on Clubhouse. Much easier to sell, much more comfortable to buy. And finally, and this, this is tricky. It's easier to sell outcomes than inputs. Of course, because we want to buy outcomes. I go out to somebody in my organization, let's say I work for a big governmental organization, and we would like to be able to give our citizens better health care. If I'm going to kind of internally champion a piece of innovation, a change in how things are done, if I say, if you do what I suggest, we're going to be able to serve 10% more people in our healthcare system, or serve them 10% better, or whatever, then people are interested. If I say, you know what, we're going to be able to try to do these actions, we're going to be able to visit them more often, or talk to them more often, or sort them in different databases, or use new technology, they'll say, okay, but what does that mean? What's the outcome? We don't care about the input, we care about the outcome. What does it mean if we visit them twice as often? Will they be twice as happy? So you know what? We don't know. We can find out, and then we can adjust and so on. But we start with input. We're going to sell you input, because that's what we control. I can't control the outcomes. I can't control whether you win the World Cup. I can control whether we train harder, whether we hire a German coach, whether we sponsor the football team with more money, whether we declare a national holiday for the Olympic tryouts. You can control the input. You can't control the outcome. But we don't care about that. We want to buy outcomes. We don't want to buy somebody who says he'll coach us. We want to buy a World Cup. Selling outcomes, much easier than selling input. Sure, you can't control it, but who cares about that, right? That sounds terrible, Klaus. It does, I know. I might not have put the most positive spin on this, but don't worry. It's okay. It's the name of the game. And also, if it was easy, the competition would be even harder. Right now, it's tricky enough getting to be heard in a sea of innovators, in a sea of people who want to create change, who want to have an impact, who want to do things differently, who want to disrupt and challenge the status quo. If it was easier, it'd just be even harder to get heard. Plus, if you are sitting there thinking, Klaus, I still don't know how to sell innovation. You and me both, my friend. You and me both. You know what the best part is? Best part is, even if we figure it out, even if you figure it out tomorrow, it might have changed by then, because that's how it is in innovation. Thank you.